the New York not-for-profit corporation law, a body can be disinterred and moved from one location within a cemetery to another part of the same cemetery, or even transferred out of that cemetery to a different one, provided permissions in the form of sworn affidavits are provided to the cemetery, and that the wishes of the deceased are being honored. Hello, everybody. Carl Berman here, taking a coffee break with you this morning to discuss a little known area of New York law, disinterment litigation. Unfortunately, in New York, lawyers have had to get involved with this issue, even though the New York State Legislature, in its wisdom, never intended for this to become a difficult issue that would require going to court. So, what are we talking about specifically? Under Section 1510E of the New York Not-for-Profit Corporation Law, a body interred in a grave holding in a cemetery may be removed with the consent of the cemetery. As well, written consents from the owner of a lot, the surviving wife or husband, the surviving children if they're over the age of 18, and the surviving parents if indeed they are alive in written form. Now, if any of those consents are missing or it cannot be obtained, then you go to court. There are other situations in which you have to go to court as well. Typically, the cemetery doesn't object, but typically when you do go to court, it's because the cemetery is part of the Archdiocese of New York, which incorporates the downstate New York region, or some other private cemeteries, out of an abundance of caution, request that folks go to court and get a court order. I've done this about 10 times in my career. Typically, these cases move through without any objection from the cemetery or from the Archdiocese, but it typically requires a lawyer with the familiarity, the time, and the particular compassion to understand the predicaments experienced by those who have said goodbye and buried their departed one, and then are obligated to move him or her. In my experience, having done this work for over about 15 years, it comes up when the family did not buy enough graveholding plots at the time of the initial loss, and now there are other folks who want to be buried in that same area, but there simply isn't room, so they purchase graveholding plots in a different area of the same cemetery, or often in a different cemetery altogether. There are any number of other variations that may occur, such as a person who's buried in a mausoleum, but for religious or philosophical reasons, the family chooses to reinter them in a below ground grave. And you can imagine all the different variations of that that may arise. The bottom line is that you need to talk to a lawyer with experience and compassion and transparency. And I am one of those few lawyers. I can't even refer a case like this in a different area of New York State because at the present time, I'm not aware of any other lawyers that can take on this type of case. Okay, so that's an overview of disinterment law in New York State. And any more questions you have, feel free to give me a call, 518-952-0516. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click the like and subscribe buttons. Take care.